Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with executives of two public companies. First up is Enlivex Therapeutics. Enlivex, clinical stage macrophage reprogramming immunotherapy company developing Allocetra, a universal off-the-shelf cell therapy designed to reprogram macrophages, which are primary immune cells, into their homeostatic state. Diseases such as osteoarthritis, sepsis, and many others reprogram macrophages out of their homeostatic state. These non-homeostatic macrophages contribute significantly to the severity of the respective diseases. By restoring macrophage homeostasis, Allocetra has the potential to provide a novel immunotherapeutic mechanism of action and resolution for conditions which are life-threatening and debilitating unmet medical needs. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is Biotricity Incorporated. Biotricity is a pioneering medical technology company delivering a full suite of remote diagnostic and remote patient monitoring hardware solutions, which integrate with powerful and proprietary software solutions to deliver state-of-the-art cardiac care to patients. Leveraging a technology-as-a-service model, its innovative product portfolio, which includes the FDA-cleared BioFlux and Biotress devices, addresses a total addressable market of $35 billion, strategic contracts with leading group purchasing organizations and integrated delivery networks position Biotricity for rapid market penetration and growth. At the core of its expansion strategy is the advancement of its proprietary AI technology to deliver award-winning, best-in-class predictive monitoring tools that pave the way for groundbreaking disease profiling, enhanced patient management, and a transformative approach to disease prevention. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Now, before we get to our first interview, our quote of the week. It comes from the book Small Stocks, Big Money. Do your homework, understand companies you invest in forwards and backwards. This quote comes from Charles Diker from Diker Management, and it is featured in Chapter 8 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with Enlivex Therapeutics. Hello, today we have with us Oren Hershkovitz, CEO of Enlivex Therapeutics, which trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker ENLV. Oren, welcome back.
Hi, great to be back.
Enlivex focuses on macrophage reprogramming. Can you explain in simple terms what macrophage reprogramming is and why it's a game changer in the field of immunotherapy?
So let's start with macrophage. Macrophage is a very, very important immune cell, okay? It has a lot of roles in housekeeping and fighting against pathogens. It triggers the immune system, but it also knows how to shut it back into normal state. Now, in some diseases where macrophage aggravate the inflammation, they continue to induce inflammation instead of bringing it back down to normal state, what we call homeostasis. In those cases, it's very, very important to direct that macrophage to tell them, go back to normal state. And this is what we do in reprogramming. It's taking very inflammatory macrophages into kind of a regulatory calm state. And by that, we address the problem in the disease.
Now, what makes Allocetra unique compared to other immunotherapy treatments currently on the market?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I think there are many good companies doing immunomodulation. I think Enlivex, to the best of my knowledge, is the only company that actually target macrophages in a way that it reprogrammed their activity, that it kind of change or rely on. We're actually harnessing a normal biological process and the healing power that normal macrophages have, and we've taken advantage of our technology to induce that healing process. So that makes us very, very unique. And again, I think we are the only immunomodulating company that are doing that, right? Reprogramming macrophages as a novel modality, a novel concept for treating diseases.
How big is the market opportunity for Allocetra?
Well, Allocetra is being developed. It's a platform, right? So it's being developed for different indications that are all addressing or the common of all of those, what's common to all of those indications, the fact that macrophages are involved and you need to reprogram them, whether it's an acute disease like sepsis or a chronic disease like osteoarthritis. All of those markets are huge markets, billions of dollars of markets, because there's a very common diseases with a huge unmet medical need. So we're talking about, for instance, osteoarthritis around $7 to $9 billion market now, expected to grow into something like 2030 to be around $15 billion market. So those are huge markets.
Oren, you recently announced positive interim data from a phase 1/2 clinical trial in end-stage knee osteoarthritis. Can you share key findings from the data, and how do those results inform your future development?
This is extremely exciting. I mean, this is the first time we generated data in osteoarthritis patients by direct injection of Allocetra into this painful knee. Now, these are very advanced patients, okay? Those are patients that are indicated for knee replacement surgery, right? So we're offering Allocetra in lieu of their surgery. And we give them a single injection and follow them now for 3 months. And the data that we just announced suggests that there is a significant pain reduction. The average pain at baseline before treatment was 7.8. So we're talking about a scale of 0 to 10, right? So 7.8 is pretty painful, right? We gave them a single injection of Allocetra, and we followed them throughout the 3 months. And we saw a continuous drop in their pain, in their reported pain, and went down all the way to 2.75. So an average pain relief of about 64%. That's significant. Now, it's a small study. Nevertheless, it's very, very promising. And we had 3 patients with an average pain of 9. So almost the most painful experience you can have, dropping down to 0, which is no pain at all. So that's extremely exciting. I think it's again, the safety was very good, and that's also important because again, it's the first time we inject Allocetra directly into the knee. So all of this is very encouraging. And we have the large randomized control phase 1/2 study that we're also running in parallel in moderate patients. And I think it increases our expectations to see very promising safety and efficacy data.
Oren, investors are always looking for catalysts. Could you give us some near-term and even longer-term catalysts for Enlivex?
We have several catalysts, right? We just recently, a couple of days ago, last week, we've announced the first patient dose in a new study, which is osteoarthritis of the thumb, the basal thumb. We're talking about this part. So actually, we have now the sepsis study that we're still following the patient, and 1-year follow-up will be Q1 next year. We have the end-stage study that we just announced, talked about the interim data. We'll have additional data by the end of this year, and additional readout for all patients in Q1 next year. We will have data from the phase 1/2 randomized controlled study in moderate knee osteoarthritis. That's a large study they're running in Israel and Denmark and other countries. Top line data readout will be end of Q3 25, and then the 6 months data at end of Q4 25. And on top of that, we have the basal thumb osteoarthritis, and we're expecting data Q1 Q2 next year. So you can see there are various catalyzation points at various timelines, short term, long term. And I think it's important to say that we're well funded to cover all of those activities. So we just announced recently our funding round from a healthcare focused institutional fund, and that will allow us to extend our cash runway all the way to the end of 26. So many inflection point, a lot of money to cover all of this. So very promising future, hopefully.
Oren, to wrap up, why should investors take an interest in Enlivex right now?
So I think we're in a very good position to take an interest in Enlivex. First of all, let's talk about few points. The first of all is the experience management, both from the business perspective and from the development perspective. Chairman of Enlivex and myself collaborated in a previous company, and we took a drug all the way to the end with a very, very, very large deal with Pfizer of the leading asset. So a lot of experience there. We know how to develop a drug. And the second is, of course, the platform. It's as we talked, it's a novel modality. It's a completely new concept, and I think it has the potential to revolutionize the treatment of several diseases. We have several different indications, all in large market, billion-dollar markets. All of them are unmet medical conditions. We have several inflection points throughout the coming year, throughout the coming 2.5 years, well funded. So I think it's a very good time to look at the company and get an interest in the company.
And we certainly agree, Oren. Thank you for sharing your fascinating story with us today.
Thank you very much for having me, and a pleasure to be here again.
Now, to get more information on Enlivex Therapeutics, visit enlvinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies just like Enlivex Therapeutics. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy at redchip.com today for just $18. Now, let's move on to our next interview today with Biotricity Incorporated. Hello, today with us we have Dr. Waqas Al-Siddiq, founder and CEO of Biotricity, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker BTCY. Waqas, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Biotricity recently launched a direct-to-consumer heart health platform. Can you elaborate on the features of this platform and how it aims to impact patient care? Additionally, could you provide an overview of your other product offerings and their roles in enhancing healthcare outcomes?
Absolutely. So our mission is really to democratize cardiac care and really provide accessibility to the masses and everybody. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but cardiac issues are the #1 killer in every country in the world, and especially here in the United States. It's also the #1 expense. And we just don't have enough cardiologists. And if you're a patient or an individual who's worried or have had a loved one with cardiac risk or have a family history, you may want to get a cardiac screening. And today that will take you over 20 days to get an appointment and over 50 days to figure out, do you have a cardiac risk factor? And so our direct-to-consumer approach is to basically cut that time away and give you access immediately at the push of a button, and it'll be delivered to your home, and you can wear the device and get a full cardiac workup in less time than it will take you to just get an appointment.
Biotricity has provided end-of-year guidance with expectations of accelerated growth, Waqas. What are the key factors driving that optimism, and what should investors be looking out for?
Yeah, I think that the combination of a few things are happening at the company, which we think is very exciting. So, a lot of companies struggle to get to a certain stage, right? They always say that, hey, the $10 million mark is an important mark. And I think it's an important mark from an awareness perspective. And we are now at a point where the company is at a size and our technologies across enough physicians, we have about 2,500 physicians who are familiar with our technology and using it, that awareness is essentially driving knowledge and accessibility, and it's allowing us to grow sales faster. And then on top of that, we've been having a lot of workflow and operational improvements through our recent technology updates and our continuous improvement on the technology side.
Your preferred shareholders have shown increased support by converting their preferred shares to common shares. What does this signify for Biotricity's financial health and shareholder confidence?
I think that anytime the shareholders come in and decide to take a bigger stake in the company is a sign of confidence in the underlying business. And I think that, a lot of businesses, right, top line growth is one thing, margin improvement is another thing, operational efficiency is another thing. To have all three going on simultaneously, I think is reflective of the strength of the company. And I think that is also reflected with shareholders going in and saying, hey, let us take a bigger position on the common side. So, that simplification of the cap structure is a testament to the progress that the company has made.
Well, Kos, earlier you talked about your goal of democratizing cardiac care. In that vein, you recently announced the upcoming launch of the first real-time cardiac monitoring system for general consumer use. What makes this product unique, and how do you foresee it transforming cardiac care?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we've really done is really focus on accessibility. I was talking about it earlier about, why have we gone and provided access? There's a lot of individuals that are now getting home-based lab diagnostics, home-based tests. Access to a cardiologist if you're living in a rural area is basically non-existent, right? You have to drive an hour just to go in and see a general practitioner or a general physician. And so being able to provide that and being able to ship across the entire country, one, it's the way things are transitioning today as it is, but B, for us, we're making that accessible for the number one issue that's plaguing the country, right? In terms of risk factors, cardiac is the number one expense and cost. So catching it earlier, trying to identify issues earlier and providing accessibility allows us to really make a dent and make sure that everybody has access to the best care no matter where they are within the country.
Biotricity has expanded its market reach to include pulmonary disease management. How does this strategic move align with your long-term vision for the company?
So everything that we do is really trying to understand that patient journey. And what we found was that a lot of individuals that are coming in to get our cardiac diagnostics through the physician, they're getting a referral because they're having some sort of symptom. And that symptom can either be a pulmonary issue or a cardiac issue. And so they end up at the cardiologist. And if that turns out to be negative, then they are referred again to a pulmonologist to look at that issue. And so our approach is, well, instead of the patient having to go from the general practitioner and get a referral to a cardiologist and then getting another referral because that came out negative and then going to a pulmonologist, can we screen for both at the same moment in time and then send them directly to where they need to go, shortening the step, reducing the patient risk, and making care faster and more streamlined.
Well, Kos, your path towards break-even has accelerated according to recent reports. What strategic initiatives have been implemented to achieve this milestone faster than anticipated?
Yeah, I think that a lot of companies are, that are going to profitability or break-even are experiencing, one or two trending things, right? Which is top-line growth or margin improvement or operational efficiency. In our case, the state of the business today is all three of them are happening simultaneously, which is essentially accelerating that path, right? We are not only increasing revenue, our margins are also improving. And then on top of that, we're also having operational efficiency. So from a company perspective, we've been working a lot on workflow automation. We've been early adopters of AI technology to help streamline processes and fulfillment and some of the operational aspects of our business. And then we've also looked at implementing AI for workflow efficiency purposes. So we're using multiple types of AI within our ecosystem to help drive scale. And at the same time, our technology improvements are driving better margins. And then our sales force is driving better growth in terms of customer acquisition.
Well, Kos, you recently partnered with a major hospital network for a cardiac monitoring pilot. What are the expected outcomes of this partnership, and how does it fit into Biotricity's broader market strategy?
Yeah, the pilot for us is a key component of our strategy as we roll out into the hospital system market. Up until now, we've been focusing on a combination of independent and larger hospital groups. But now with the recent addition of getting onto contract with GPOs, our focus has expanded in the hospital outreach. And a big part of that is to do pilots, show outcomes, and do more longitudinal studies and track that data, because hospitals are not looking at something within a 1 month window. They're looking at a multi-year or multi-month, and they're trying to look at what is the impact on a long-term basis. And so as we do pilots, the idea is to do pilots and case studies so that we can use that as part of our commercialization and using that as a data point that can help drive better sales and longer sales within the hospital systems.
Waqas, to sum up, what is the essential value proposition behind Biotricity, and why should investors take an interest right now?
I think that as a company, we've been showing a track record year over year of growth, and I think that there are many companies that get stuck as they grow. And the value proposition for Biotricity is we are building one of the largest cardiac clouds. We have shown growth. We have top line revenue growing. We have margins that are improving. And we've hit that inflection point, or we think we've hit that inflection point, because most companies cannot get above $10 million in revenue. And once you hit that, you start driving real awareness within the industry. And I think for investors, they see a growing company, a company in an industry that is a multi-billion-dollar marketplace, but is also recession resilient, is also trying to tackle the #1 health issue. And you know what they say, health and food are those recession resilient industries, and a company that has a clear pathway to cash flow positive and break even. And I think that is an opportunity for investors.
We certainly agree, Waqas. You have a great story. Thank you for sharing it with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, to get more information on Biotricity Incorporated, visit btcyinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Biotricity. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for $18. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, we had Enlivex Therapeutics, ENLV, on the NASDAQ. Enlivex is a clinical stage macrophage reprogramming immunotherapy company developing Allocetra, a universal off-the-shelf cell therapy designed to reprogram macrophages, which are primary immune cells, into their homeostatic state. Diseases such as osteoarthritis, sepsis, and many others reprogram macrophages out of their homeostatic state. These non-homeostatic macrophages contribute significantly to the severity of the respective diseases. By restoring macrophage homeostasis, Allocetra has the potential to provide a novel immunotherapeutic mechanism of action and resolution for conditions which are life-threatening and debilitating. Learn more at www.enlvinfo.com. Then you met Biotricity Incorporated, stock symbol BTCY, on the NASDAQ. Biotricity is a pioneering medical technology company delivering a full suite of remote diagnostic and remote patient monitoring hardware solutions, which integrate with powerful and proprietary software solutions to deliver state-of-the-art cardiac care to patients. Leveraging a technology as a service model, its innovative product portfolio, which includes its FDA-cleared BioFlux and BioTress devices, addresses a total addressable market of $35 billion. Strategic contracts with leading group purchasing organizations and integrated delivery networks position Biotricity for rapid market penetration and growth. At the core of its expansion strategy is the advancement of its proprietary AI technology to deliver award-winning, best-in-class predictive monitoring tools that pave the way for groundbreaking disease profiling, enhanced patient management, and a transformative approach to disease prevention. Learn more at www.btcyinfo.com. Now, don't forget to check out our stocks page. It's the biggest small cap stock portal in the industry. It has every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with market caps of $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industries. Also, be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies, so please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.